Welcome back to another episode on the NLD Balls page. In today's episode, we're going to be doing my first 2025 NFL mock draft. All right, so like I said, in today's episode, we're going to be doing my first 2025 NFL mock draft that I will be documenting on YouTube, and we're going to start this off with edge out of Texas A&M, Nick Scorton, getting selected by the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions have Za'Darius Smith and Aiden Hutchinson, who will be able to teach him his biggest weakness, in my opinion, which is a pass rush plan. But Nick Scorton, he's a freak athlete. He has the build, he has the size, he even has the motor. You know, he'd be a guy that Dan Campbell likes. And I think his production just came off of motor. He doesn't have pass rush moves, but he's just so strong, so big and fast that you can get a couple sacks. But he only got 4 on the year, which that's kind of what I don't like. Just the production, but on the tape, he did stand out to me. He was, or that's the thing, he didn't stand out. He just always played like good, like he's not stand out, but he learned a couple pass rush moves, which I see, which is to me his biggest problem. He could become a nasty edge rusher in the NFL, and being behind, like I said, Za'Darius Smith and Aiden Hutchinson would be a nice way to learn. Next up, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at pick 31. They'll be taking tight end Coston Loveland. This is a steal, man. Getting Coston Loveland, who could possibly be the best tight end in the draft at pick 31 because his quarterback played bad. Coston Loveland is a really nice player. Super fast at tight end. To me, he almost looks like a big wide receiver, but he'd be able to come in and do a lot of what Travis Kelce does for the Kansas City Chiefs, and this would be the best quarterback that he's ever played with in his life, which a lot of people, or everyone that plays with Mahomes, that's the best quarterback they've ever played with in their life. So, but he will be their tight end 1 in the future, and for now, he could honestly, he'd be their tight end 1 from the get-go. I think Travis Kelce would be their tight end 2 next season if they were to go this way, and Coston Loveland and just savor him for the playoffs. Like Chiefs, they are a team that's starting to love to run the ball and play defense. So a 2 tight end set with Coston Loveland, who's almost like a blue chip player, but is just like he is real. Coston Loveland is really, really, really good. Like this could be a 1,000-yard receiver next year, and like depending on how the Chiefs roster look and if he got Mahomes, like Coston Loveland is that good. So great pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. On the pick 30, we got Jared Ivey from Ole Miss. I think that Jared Ivey is a similar prospect to Nick Scorton, but he has a pass rush plan. I think Jared Ivey is he has a great motor. He always finds his way to the ball. Like that's something that stood out to me. Every single snap, he just finds his way to the ball. He has a pass rush plan. He has the size, he has the frame, he has the speed. Jared Ivey on the Eagles will come in and be a part of that pass rush rotation that they love having, and maybe even one day be the standout guy in the edge group. In their interior, they got Jalen Carter, who's so solid, but in the edge group, they don't have a standout guy because they let Hassan Reddick go. So maybe the Eagles can find their guy right here in Jared Ivey. Next up at pick 29, we got the Buffalo Bills. They'll be taking Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Freak athlete at the defensive tackle position, and he's a good run stopper. That's something that the Bills could improve on, or every team really loves improving on themselves, obviously. But the Bills, they already forced the most turnovers in the league. So to me, if they could find a way to slow down run games even more with Tyleik Williams, that would be very solid because Daquan Jones, he's at the point where he's 33 years old, so he's not going to be here for too long. And Ed Oliver, yes, he's a defensive tackle, but he's more of a pass rushing defensive tackle. So having a Tyleik Williams for snaps would be a very good thing for them. pick 28 for the Minnesota Vikings, I have a surprise pick. This is Ashton Jy out of Boise State. He was honestly on the verge of not getting selected in the first round, but I wanted to take him because Ashton Jy should have won Heisman, man. Ashton Jy went crazy. Boise State having a bye week. I don't care if they lost. They came into the playoffs with a bye week. Travis Hunter and Colorado, like, they weren't even in playoff conversation. They made it with a bye week because of Ashton Jy. But I think that this whole entire running back class is nasty, man. Cam Scatterboo, Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Jordan James. Like, there's a couple guys who I didn't even name, you know? I think a lot of teams are going to have the opportunity to take on their selected running back and, you know, go off with them. So that's kind of the reason why I say that. But the reason I have Ashton Jy going to the Vikings, because if we do a mock draft, he could, like, be a top 5 pick very easily, you know? And getting that at pick 28 is crazy value. And the NFL, they don't understand when they doing this running back stuff. It's not the fact that you don't pay the elite ones. It's the fact that you could find the good ones easier in the draft. Like, finding a good running back is it's very doable. Like, I just named so many running backs. This running back is the deepest class in this draft, and a lot of teams are going to hold on and select the positions with a little bit more vacancy, such as tackle. You know, tackle, there's not that many good tackles in the draft, so like you know, running back, you know, maybe we're going to get this elite tackle with one of the good running backs to make our run game better. You know, that's how some of these teams are thinking. So Ashton Jy to the Vikings would be like the Vikings almost combating the Lions as their division rivals. You know, the two-headed running back monsters with Ashton Jy and Aaron James. I think Aaron Jones is getting on the older side. So like the Vikings are a team that's contending right now. Take best player available, buy into the two running back thing. You are going to have a game manager regardless at Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. So go ahead and do what the 49ers did that one time when they had Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, and Raheem Mostert. Just be even more play action based. And this year you're going to have basically adding Ashton Jy and TJ Hawkinson to your offense for the whole year, because TJ Hawkinson came late on to the season and came balling immediately. So imagine if you gave the Vikings even more juice to begin the year. Holy, this team would be nasty. Jordan Addison, Ashton Jy, TJ Hawkinson, Jettas. Dude, that is the best weapons. They have a nasty defense already. Vikings might already have the best weapons. You know, they're in the conversation already, and they just take it to another level. Next, at pick 27, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking edge out of Ohio State, JT Toomey. The Baltimore Ravens are taking JT out of Ohio State. Solid edge rusher, real solid. He has a pass rush plan. He produced in college. He's a good NFL player, straight up. Like he's one of those. He looks like he played at Ohio State. He looks like an NFL player. He looks NFL ready. The Ravens need pass rush bad, in my opinion. I think edge rusher is like the main thing that the Ravens need. Adafe Owe has been solid, but I think he's their only like pass rusher that I think is, you know, producing at a positive rate to me. Justin Matabuke, he's a great run defender. He's actually at his position solid too, but after that, their pass rush is lackluster. Their run defense is where they strive at. And JT, he just a NFL player. I think he would fit in with the Baltimore Ravens and be somebody who wouldn't hurt the run game. Next, at pick 26, the Washington Commanders will be taking linebacker / edge rusher Jaylen Walker out of Georgia. Like I said, linebacker / edge rusher. I think this is something that Dan Quinn will fall in love with, seeing a Micah Parsons as clone. Like, imagine if you could have a Micah Parsons clone next to Bobby Wagner. That would be so good for the Washington Commanders, because I think Jaylen Walker might come into the NFL and like he's gonna have the same pathway as Michael Parsons did in his first year. He's gonna play a little bit of linebacker, a little bit of edge rusher, see where he's better at, and then become similar to like maybe a TJ Watt. I think Michael Parsons is similar to a TJ Watt kind of. They are edge rushers who, sometimes drop back in pass coverage, and they're also really good in pass coverage. I think Jaylen Walker is that, and in this draft, he is falling. So, like, he's falling because of like no reason. It just there's no reason for him to fall. He's one of the better defensive players in the draft, but he also doesn't have a position. There is a reason. He has two positions that he's okay at. Honestly, he's good at, but some guys are like special at what they do. Jaylen Walker, he is nice though. Freak athlete. He's a good leader also, which is something that's an underrated skill to me. He's a good leader. He's athletic. He's fast, strong tackler. He blows by tackles sometimes just because how fast he is. So we're gonna see because he's a raw pass rusher. So we're gonna see how he develops as a pass rusher in the NFL. But I think it's gonna be real easy for him, especially on the Washington Commanders that are missing some pass rush. So they'll be sending him at the quarterback a lot, especially they got Bobby Wagner. Like I said, they're just going to use Jaylen Walker to mess with teams' heads and drop back in coverage a couple times, and then like quarterbacks will never know what he's doing. So I think that would be a great pick for the Washington Commanders. And next up at pick 25, we got Kenneth Grant of Michigan going to the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a pick that I've been begging the Chargers to do for years. Defensive tackle. I've always cried that the Chargers need a right tackle and a defensive tackle. They just got a tackle in Joe Alt, and that's what I was mocking last year for them. So I'm so happy that they did that. He's special, man. Shout out to the Chargers for making the right pick in Joe Alt. But this is the year you take your defensive tackle, Chargers. This is the year that you get both of the things that honestly was so bad that it got Brandon Staley fired. Brandon Staley also got himself fired. I'm sorry, Chargers fans, for mentioning that name, but your defensive tackles to me was always the biggest issue until he became it. The run game for Los Angeles, they always just allow a lot of yards per carry because they have edge rushers who don't defend the run that well in Bosa. And then they have no defensive tackles. So, they need to add some weight in the front. I think they could add 2 defensive tackles in the offseason, honestly. Add Kenneth Grant and sign him a mentor in free agency, I think they need 2 of them. They need multiple defensive tackles. And Kenneth Grant is also, almost best player available on the board. So, that would be a great pick for the Los Angeles Chargers. Next up at pick 24. We got the Green Bay Packers. They will be taking Tetra McMillan out of Arizona State, wide receiver. This is a great pick for the Packers fans. If y'all could leave this day with Tetra McMillan, you probably would have thought you traded up in the top 10, But nah, I think McMillan is I don't know. Maybe I'm lower on him. But I'm going to watch back. He was a good wide receiver, round 1 to 2 prospect to me. But maybe I should have bit my tongue with that. And he's just clearly a special talent. But I'm going to, like I said, my first wave of watching college football, I'm lower on McMillan than the normal people, it seems like. But one day I'll come back in my second mock draft whenever a team does a trade. So that's what I'm going to do these mock drafts based off of. Every time the draft order changes, you come to the MLD Balls page and hear me talk about my new draft order. Hear me talk about the new prospects I like. Hear me see what my new order is. A lot of y'all are big college fans and want to hear what people got to say about them. Look, I'm telling you, man, the order I put these players in is the right order, okay? But there's no other order, man. I'm telling you, man. But Tetra McMillan, pick 24 for the Green Bay Packers. I guess I'm quite a bit lower on him, but he is nice. He's a Mike Evans-esque to me. And just those receivers that aren't great separators to me, they get rated a little bit lower. But McMillan is good when he has the ball in his hands. He's like nothing. I'll get back to McMillan, but McMillan's a good player. All right. Next, at pick 23, we got the Los Angeles Rams. They'll be selecting Harold Fanning Jr. tight end out of Bowling Green. This is a pick that might be catching a lot of people by surprise. With Harold Fanning Jr. with Matthew Stafford will go because he already got Puka, who's out there killing people, and then they're gonna have Harold Fanning. Oh man, Harold Fanning is a nice prospect. Rams fans, let me know, would y'all prefer to have Harold Fanning Jr. or Benjamin Morrison? Because that was the two options right here. Harold Fanning Jr. and Benjamin Morrison. Couldn't make my decision on who to pick, and that ended up letting Benjamin Morrison fall out of the first round, actually. And Harold Fanning, I would have took him, honestly, at like pick 31 with the Chiefs if he was still on the board. So I also haven't watched too much of Notre Dame, so maybe my entire opinion on Benjamin Morrison will change. As you can notice, I don't have any Notre Dame players on this draft class, honestly. But yeah, I don't have any Notre Dame players going in this mock draft. Like I said, I'm only going off of what I know. Like, I've watched all of these players that I'm ranking. I've got a gist of who they are. All of these players are players that I'm high on. This is what I would do if I was every single team. I started from pick 1 and until pick 32. If I was the general manager with my job on the line for every single team, that's what I would have did. And at pick 23 for the Los Angeles Rams, I think Harold Fanning Jr. is just a crazy big target, and he is a great pass catcher at the tight end position, an insane red zone threat, and him with another star receiver is going to be something that I think is a problem. And the Rams, no matter what, they're going to have at least one star receiver next to him in Puka Nacua for the rest of his career. So yeah, I think that would be a crazy match made in heaven. Pick 22, Pittsburgh Steelers taking Trey Harris, Ole Miss wide receiver. This is a guy who, he was hurt this year, and when he was playing, oh my, Trey Harris was breaking, like, he would have, man, he had 1,000 yards in like 8 games. If he is falling on boards, it's because of health. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need a wide receiver one like that next to George Pickens. He is a similar prospect to McMillan. I just think he produces more. I think his hands are also crazy. Trey Harris got them hands, man. I think Trey Harris could easily be wide receiver 1 in this draft if he was just healthy. He's really good. And shout out to Trey Harris. Next up at pick 21, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Princely Human out of Ole Miss. Again, an Ole Miss player. Like, Ole Miss, for a team that didn't make a lot of noise, they pretty much had a lot of NFL talent at the right positions. Like, Ole Miss, like, it's kind of disappointing that they didn't go further than they did. Princely was a great pass rusher. He, to me, out of all the pass rushers, is the most pass rush plan ready guy. I think that's his strength. Princely, I don't know who he reminds me of, but there's somebody who he reminds me of. He's just so bendy. Like, he's so bendy and goes with a pass rush plan every time. Like, I've seen a great edge rusher play like him before, but I can't get it in my mind. All I could think about is DeMarcus Ware. Maybe it's DeMarcus Ware, man. He's so bendy. He has a pass rush plan, and he just looks so big. I gotta see how tall he is, actually. Like, the fact that I don't know his height is kind of crazy. He is 6'5". Yeah, he 6'5" and bendy, man. He's 6'5". He's super bendy, and he has a pass rush plan every single time. The thing about him is that he's so saucy that he loves doing a spin move. Whenever he gets that spin, you know what? It is DeMarcus Ware. He reminds me of that spin DeMarcus Ware had. He has a signature spin move that, please, Princely, get that thing down. He always trips on it. Not always, but there's times where he will spin off of them and trip, and it just ruins the whole pass rush attempt. Bro, whenever he gets that down, because he to me, I could tell he's one of those guys that puts the work in. He's gonna learn that spin move one day. Like a guy who's that bendy, super athletic, and has a pass rush plan like him, he's a first round pick, man. You could tell he puts work in. He studies the game with how many pass rush moves he got, and whenever he learns to use them at the right times, combat them and stuff, which he already does. He had a very productive year out of Ole Miss. Like, man, Princely is probably a my guy. Like, I just compared him to DeMarcus Ware. You know, it sounds like he's a my guy. And honestly, I could see myself going even higher on him later on in my future draft picks, in my future mock drafts, I shall say. At pick 20, the Denver Broncos are going to be selecting Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Ibuka. You know, yeah, him. Emeka. All right. Ohio State will be selecting them, or oh my goodness, the Denver Broncos will be selecting Emeka, who to me, he reminds me a lot of JSN. He just knows how to play football, man. Like, he's gonna be one of those guys that sneakily gets 1,000 yards. You know, like Emeka, like he is a NFL wide receiver. Some people are just NFL players, and Ohio State just has a lot of those. You know, that's why they're dominating. Ohio State just have NFL players. Like Emeka is an NFL wide receiver, literally a first round wide receiver. Like, he is good. He's a good route runner. He's big. He's strong. He ain't the fastest, but that's why I kind of say JSN. But he knows what he's doing. He's very smart. He's one of those type of players to me, and that would be a great pick for the Denver Broncos to have a legit wide receiver. You know, like they need NFL wide receivers. You know, and he's literally that. He is your, like, when you think of a wide receiver, you think of a Emeka, like literally. Like, he's an NFL wide receiver. Pick 19, the Houston Texans will be selecting Jahdae Barron out of Texas, the cornerback. He had a great game against Ohio himself, going against Emeka, who I say is an NFL wide receiver. Like, I have Emeka going in the top 20 in the NFL draft, and he had Jeremiah Smith, who I would probably have in like a top 10 in next year's draft, you know, locked. Like, Jahdae Barron, Jeremiah Smith didn't have a bad game. Jahdae Barron had a normal game. You know, that's just what it is. Jahdae Barron is one of those type of guys, and honestly, probably should even go higher. The Texans getting him right here, to me, is a steal. Because, dude, Jahdae Barron, he won best corner of the year for a reason, man. He's nice. He's super sticky in coverage. Nice pass up broken that he had in that game on a deep ball, and like I said, super sticky in coverage. Jahdae Barron gonna be I think he's gonna be a good NFL corner. Like, I know he is. Next up at pick 18, we got the Seattle Seahawks. They'll be selecting James Pierce Jr., edge rusher out of Tennessee. Another guy who's super bendy. He's nice. He has a pass rush plan, and he's strong. You know, James Pierce is strong. So, like, he got the muscle on him too, man. James Pierce, Seattle Seahawks, having a edge rusher. He'd probably be their second best pass rusher since they've had Jamal Adams. You know, Leonard Williams got snubbed. I ain't gonna lie. Leonard Williams, a dog. Seattle fans, we see him putting that work in. And having James Pierce next to him would be a nice little you know, defense that they building upon right there. And yeah, I would like that for the Seattle Seahawks. Improve that defense. In the second round, maybe take a quarter. Man, find a way to get worse, but at the same time, you're getting better. Like, Seattle Seahawks are at the worst place they could be as a franchise, just in the middle, man. Geno Smith is good. good enough to make you think you could win a playoff game, but not good enough to take you to the playoffs. And that's just tough. And talk about not making the playoffs. The biggest disappointment of the year not making the playoffs is at pick 17 is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss, the last pass rusher we will be taking out of Ole Miss, their whole front three we just took, and Walter Nolan at pick 17, Princely at pick 21, and Jared Ivey at pick 30. Ole Miss pass rush and their defensive line this year was just amazing. Like, going back and watching them, I don't understand how Ole Miss was losing games, man. Like, Ole Miss had a lot of NFL talent, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, on preseason rankings, Ole Miss was projected to do better or something. Because I don't know about college football. Like I said, I don't keep up with it. I watch it. I don't keep up with it. I watch it and talk about it. Like, I don't want to watch anybody else's opinion or hear nobody's opinion on these prospects until the draft day, because I want to make content on it and I want to do these mock drafts, and I don't want to see other people's opinion on stuff, because that influences you, even though you don't want to be influenced. Like, when you hear somebody's opinion on something and they give you a valid reason, you're just gonna think, oh yeah, I agree. Next up at pick 16, the Arizona Cardinals will be taking edge rusher Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. And oh man, after that game he just had, everyone's gonna be high on Jack Sawyer now. I already was kind of high on him. Like, if we did a mock draft last week, I would have had him in the later teens, but like, I was going to take him in the first round. Like, he was gonna be a guy who I thought I was gonna be higher than other people on, because in this mock draft simulator, I had to go so far down to select a productive edge rusher with the size, with the run stopping ability, with what? Like, Jack Sawyer is a dog, man. Jack Sawyer is a dog, man. Like, there was no way that the Detroit Lions would have passed up on him. He's one of those guys who could play for, like, Dan Campbell. Just to know the type of dude he is, like, type of guy he is on the field. He's a big play merchant. Like, I don't know how. Like, he's always been a big play merchant. I don't get it. Every time I'm watching Jack Sawyer play, he just makes the big plays. Like some guys like TJ Watt, whenever it's a big moment, they just light up, and Jack Sawyer is that guy that does that. He is it. Like, he is nasty, productive, big, strong, likable, a great leader. Like, at pick 16, the Cardinals getting this is very great value, man. Like, Cardinals are walking away with an amazing player. At pick 15, the Atlanta Falcons, they will be selecting Michigan cornerback Will Johnson. Michigan is another team that they got a lot of NFL players on their team, man. And Will Johnson, he was kind of hurt for the year. That's kind of what has been his biggest problem to me. He can't stay on the field. Will Johnson is nice. Like, watching him play, he's sticky in coverage. He has some, like, long arms. He looks like he's really good in press. Like, he's good in press and got long arms. Good in press, long arms, sticky in coverage. And then he's an NFL cornerback. Pair that next to AJ Terrell, who might have the best safety duo in the league. Bro, this is a nice little squad on Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta fans would have preferred an edge rusher because that's more of a need. But Will Johnson for the Atlanta Falcons, I think that pass rush would be so nice. And then, or that pass coverage would be so nice. And then, you figure out the rest throughout the draft and free agency. Atlanta Falcons team will be running Michael Penix at quarterback next year. So we'll see what they look like. But one thing I know with Will Johnson, they'll look like the best secondary in the league. Next up at pick 14, the Indianapolis Colts will be taking tight end 1, Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Tyler Warren is a dog. Tyler Warren is a dog. He's so big. He's so strong. He's such a good playmaker in the open field. he reminds me of like George Kittle. Like Tyler Warren is nasty, man. And I think Anthony Richardson having a big target who will also help the Indianapolis Colts in the run game as a blocker, as a play action threat, as a passing threat. I think everything about Tyler Warren to the Indianapolis Colts screams fit. And Tyler Warren is like almost the best player just available at this point. So great pick for the Colts. So get your offense better. Why not? If Anthony Richardson can't work with Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman, who are all solid. Like the Colts got a bunch of solid receivers. They're deep at wide receiver. So get him a tight end. He got a running back. He got an O-line. Hey, no more excuses. If you need a quarterback next year, go ahead and do it. Be able to trade up because you have your whole O-line suited up, and see what the Indianapolis Colts do next season with Tyler Warren. At pick 13, the Miami Dolphins select tackle out of Ohio State, Josh Simmons. He is like the only player in the draft besides in the next pick where I listen to opinions. Josh Simmons, he didn't have film this year really because he was hurt, and I haven't really cared to, or maybe I did watch him and I just haven't realized, but I've been looking for him, but he was hurt. Every game I watched, he was hurt. So like he could figure his way on the next wave. But I've heard that Ohio State students have told me that he's a great tackle, but they're biased. And I've also had seen that he's like almost tight end one in here. Like I'm being honest when I'm being honest. Josh Simmons, I just took him for the Dolphins. And Luther Burton, same with him kind of. Luther Burton, I haven't watched too much of him, but I've had Cowboys fans who've asked me to please take him in my mock draft, and they want him. And Luther Burton, I've seen a little bit of him. I just haven't seen enough to where I want to formulate an opinion. I know that he was easily the wide receiver one coming into the draft. To me, he seems like a dynamic playmaker, like Kadarius Toney. Like he seems jiggy to me, but I haven't seen much of a route running. But I could see that he also had a very bad quarterback at Missouri. So, maybe the quarterback couldn't just, work with him. And Dak Prescott having a jiggy player, and then the Dolphins, and then the Cowboys could go back in the second round and like take running back, and Luther Burton will seem like a player who also adds to your running game. So Dak Prescott will be a huge upgrade at quarterback for him. And then he just be their wide receiver too next to CeeDee Lamb. So he wouldn't have that much of a load to the point where he's consistently asked upon to run routes. And if he's as good as I've been hearing and he could run routes and he's as jiggy and sticky as I've seen in the open field, like Luther Burton will be nasty because he's already been like known to be the best wide receiver, but he just was in a bad position. And Luther Burton, dude, this Cowboys team, I seen that as I'm recording this, they fired Mike McCarthy. That's the big news going on in the NFL right now. So if you could get Luther Burton, Josh Simmons, or Ashton Jy, Cowboys fans, let me know what you would want, because I think you could, after doing this, go in the second round, you grab Luther Burton. Now you could go ahead and get Cam Scatterboo also, so let me know, Cowboys fans, because in the second round, you wouldn't be able to get a wide receiver like Luther Burton, but in the second round, Cam Scatterboo, man, Caleb Johnson, Jordan James, a lot of those guys, man, or you could get Josh Simmons and still get one of those guys, improve the O-line and improve the running back room. So Cowboys fans, let me know what y'all would want. But Cowboys fans that I know would like Luther Burton, and I respect that. Luther Burton is nice. Number 11, player who I'm lower on than most, Mason Graham. To me, Mason Graham, he didn't have much of a pass rush, and I just like in the run game, he's dominant. And 49ers, they have another Bosa brother who doesn't know how to guard the run. And they have Javon Hargrave, who's going to come back next year and is more of a pass rusher at the defensive tackle position. So Mason Graham coming in on that team filled with pass rushers to ask to be run stuffing guy, that would be something that, it's possible. He could do it. And I think as he's next to all those pass rushers, he's just, like I said, with Nick Scorton at pick 32, Bosa's going to teach you some pass rush moves. That's his biggest weakness to me. He doesn't get at the quarterback, but he's great in the run game. He gets at the running back for sure. He gets at the running back, and that's something that the 49ers need. And Mason Graham, he might be a special type of player, and getting that at pick 11 will be great for the 49ers, and that will change the whole landscape of their franchise, because next year I think that they're going to be a Super Bowl team. They're going to be a team that, we need to see them in the Super Bowl. Nah, we don't, man. We need to see the Giants in the Super Bowl. Giants versus the Dolphins. But Mason Graham, having him on the 49ers could make them a Super Bowl team. Literally, because they have CMC already. They have Ayuk. They have Ricky. They have Brock Purdy. They have that O-line. And then their defense, dude, like, it already is nasty. And adding the run stuffer like Mason Graham, best player available, position of need, on a team that shouldn't be picking this high. And they only are here because they were hurt. Like that's something that you should do 10 times out of 10, because Mason Graham is a special type of player. At pick 10 for the Chicago Bears, they will be selecting tackle out of Ohio State, Donovan Jackson. The game of Donovan Jackson against Mason Graham, that footage, like that put Donovan Jackson on the map to me. And then going back to his Ohio State game or against Penn State, yeah, Abdul Carter played with him a little bit, but that was his first start ever at tackle. And after that, he's just built upon it and built upon it. Honestly, on my first mock draft, I took him at 4 for the New England Patriots. But then I've realized there's a tackle that's better than him. There's one. But after that, Donovan Jackson might be the second best or third best tackle in this class pretty easily to me. He's obviously versatile, because he didn't ever start at left tackle until like the middle of this season, and he's looked like the best left tackle ever since to me. Like, I've watched all of the Ohio State games just to watch Donovan Jackson, and I don't see him allow any pressures besides Abdul Carter in his first start in his life at the position. After that, he's been holding it down. Like, I want to draft him even higher, but he has one more game to play in the championship game, and we're gonna see how he looks against Texas. Oh no, Notre Dame. We're gonna see how he looks against Notre Dame. And yeah, Donovan Jackson, his stock may have risen the most, because from what I see, I honestly, I took him at pick 4 in the first mock, but I don't want to be too crazy in my mock draft. I don't want to be too different to where I stick out too much. Like, I'm not trying to be, I have a lot of stuff going on in my top 10. All right. We're going to start this off with Donovan Jackson going at pick 10, which to some people might be crazy. To me, I think it's low. I think he could easily go in the top 5 if I was to be an NFL GM. At pick 9, the New Orleans Saints will be taking Louisiana's very own Will Campbell, tackle out of LSU, but they will be converting him to guard. Talise Fuaga came in last year and has played amazing for the Saints at tackle, so they wouldn't need a tackle. And Will Campbell's biggest thing so far has been is he a tackle? Is he a guard? All I know is he might be the best offensive lineman in the draft. He's one of those offensive linemen that could play all 5 positions. He's one of those offensive linemen that all 5 positions at a good level. So the Saints, they are a team they're just everywhere, just get you the best player. And Will Campbell is another guy who could easily go in the top 5, and the Saints will be taking him here at pick 9. At pick 8, the Carolina Panthers go ahead and take edge out of Georgia, Michael Williams. This is a guy who comes in and he'll wreck some games for you. Like, in Georgia, I think that he was their best player on a great defense, and he was their most valuable. Like, games with him, teams just have to double him. He is a threat. He is a problem. Michael Williams, number 13. Can y'all please just double him? Because he keeps getting to the quarterback. He's super athletic. He has that edge rusher build. And yeah, Michael Williams is really nice. Him going to the Carolina Panthers would be the start of, a treacherous defense that is down bad, and they need help right there in the trenches. At pick 7, the New York Jets take edge rusher out of Penn State, Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter could possibly be the best player in this draft, and the New York Jets they're at the point where they don't know what they do. Like, you don't know what you do if you're the Jets, so just take the best player. Just take Abdul Carter and shut up. He's the best player. Take him and shut up. We don't know anything else we're doing. We don't know if we're keeping Tay Adams or Garrett Wilson. We don't know if we're keeping Aaron Rodgers. We're not even high on Breece Hall anymore. We're not even high on Sauce Gardner anymore. We're just gonna shut up and take the best player in Abdul Carter, and we're gonna see what next year brings. All right, best player Abdul Carter. See what next year brings. Might even be a blue chip prospect. Next, at pick 6, the Las Vegas Raiders lead with Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. This is the guy who they feel like they should tank for. So if they could get their boy at pick 6, oh man, Las Vegas is gonna be throwing parties. You got Tom Brady has a stake of the team as Shedeur Sanders' mentor, and then they just fired their coach. So man, let's bring Dion along, baby. Yeah, man, let's go ahead and bring Dion, man. Shedeur Sanders, he played at 2 schools, but there were 2 schools under his dad. So I don't think he played at 2 schools. He played at 1 school to me because he played under the same system. The whole argument of playing at different schools is that you played in different systems. He didn't play in different systems. He played in Jacksonville State with his pops. Played in Colorado with his pops. He's about to play in Las Vegas with his pops too. Is he good at playing with his pops? Yeah, he honestly is. Shedeur Sanders, top 10 NFL prospect. He is a good player. Shedeur is going to come in on Las Vegas and have a Brock Bowers who's solid, Jacoby Myers who's solid. Maybe later on in the draft, the Raiders would obviously take Jimmy Horn or Sterling or Shepard guy to, pair with Shedeur to see if one of them could just pop with him for some reason, because they would need help at the wide receiver position still. We will see what we do in the second round. They have a good O-line. They run game is bad, so maybe you take another team that could take a Cam Scatterboo, Caleb Johnson in the second round. Maybe you go ahead, take Shedeur, you take a running back, you get Dion, and just have him develop under a decent O-line and Brock Bowers. I think Raiders fans will love Shedeur Sanders right here, and the Raiders will love him too. He's a good quarterback. That he's a kid that's going to be super motivated to get better. He's honestly a good quarterback. All jokes aside, a lot of people are higher on him than they should be, but he's an NFL prospect and he could come in the NFL and make a Pro Bowl team. Shedeur is a nice prospect and his accuracy is solid. His O-line was bad, so it kind of showed that he's pretty good improviser to me. To me, Shedeur is nice, man. It's just Shedeur tough, man. Nice improviser, pretty accurate, but he kind of looked like an NFL quarterback. Some people just look like a NFL quarterback, and Shedeur, he doesn't look bad. He just looked like a pro quarterback. I shouldn't say NFL. He looks like a pro quarterback. You could tell that he played quarterback at a pro level when you watch him play. He's pretty good at it. He's a top 5 quarterback in his class, and yeah, shout out to Shedeur. You're going where you want. And at pick 5, the Jacksonville Jaguars will be taking Colorado teammate Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter going home. Travis Hunter, I'm pretty sure he's born in Jacksonville. So both of these guys will be getting drafted in their dream scenarios in this world. You have Travis Hunter going home. He will be able to play corner and wide receiver on this Jacksonville team that need both positions. They just need talent, man. They also need O-line, so I wouldn't be surprised. Jacksonville fans, how would you feel? Would you prefer to go with a Will Campbell right here, a Kelvin Banks right here, or Travis Hunter? Because Trevor Lawrence, he might be on his last year with excuses. You don't want the O-line to be an excuse again. The wide receivers aren't an excuse. Corner, if the defense is the reason why you're bad this year, okay, at least we know if Trevor's here or not. At least we know if we should trade Trevor or not. Maybe you should go tackle here with Will Campbell. Maybe I'll do that in the future. But for today's mock, just went Travis Hunter. He might just be best player available. And if a team is to draft Travis Hunter at pick 5, it would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Hunter, the other teams are QB needed. The other team is Drake May friendly, because Drake May is nice. And at pick 4, the New England Patriots will be taking Kelvin Banks Jr. I switched this one live. At pick 4, I originally took Donovan Jackson, but I'm going to go with Kelvin Banks just because he's been playing left tackle for a little bit now. There's a lot of film on him at left tackle, and he's always been good at left tackle. Donovan Jackson this year or these past couple weeks where he's been playing the position, I think he's going to rise up draft boards like crazy, man. Like I think Donovan Jackson is going to raise up like crazy, but top 10 is crazy enough. I don't have to make a guy who is top 200, top 5. Do I? Yeah, I do. Donovan Jackson is a top 5 prospect. But at pick 4, I'm rambling. I did take Kelvin Banks Jr. for the New England Patriots. He's going to come in and help the New England Patriots on all aspects of the team. He's going to help their pass game and their run game and give their quarterback, Drake May, who looked amazing, less excuses because left tackle won't be one anymore. And Mike Onwenu, he's going to hold the other side down. So the New England Patriots really go from like having a terrible O-line to being a piece away just like that because of somebody like Kelvin Banks Jr. And then you go ahead and get a running back in round 2, maybe, and run a lot of play action. Or you go ahead and get the best center. And I don't know what you do in round 2, but Kelvin Banks Jr. is a great start because that left tackle position will be held down. And at pick 3, the New York Giants will be taking Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart, man. Let's go, Giants Nation. Let's go. Jackson Dart, to me, this is the fun part of the video. If you stayed here for this long, you're 50 minutes in, and I'm still talking about these prospects. Jackson Dart, to me, is like Josh Allen. Like, check me out. He is a quarterback power-friendly running back who has a big arm, who's athletic, and he doesn't know how to slide, man. But like he makes the big plays, and Ole Miss played so well this year. But like Jackson Dart, he isn't perfect. All right, he isn't perfect. No one's perfect. But to me, he was a great quarterback this year in the draft, man. Jackson Dart, he's super accurate. He's super productive. He didn't throw that many interceptions. He had a lot of touchdowns. He's nice, man. Jackson Dart, people are going to rise up on him a lot, man. Like he's another guy I've kind of been higher on him. So like him going to the Cleveland Browns to me is something that can happen. But 3 to the New York Giants, man. Like he played in a harder conference than Shedeur. He produced more than Shedeur. He's a better runner than Shedeur. Like he's a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders to me. Jackson Dart is nice, man. Jackson Dart is going to be a guy who the New York Giants are going to take. And like I said, Josh Allen to me. So like Brian Daboll with a guy who reminds me of Josh Allen a lot would be a crazy fit and would be a very fun thing to see in New York, man. Malik Neighbors and Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson as his weapons, or it's going to be the biggest turnoff because a lot of these other guys go to better situations than that. Because the Giants also have a lackluster O-line, but this is what the offseason is for. You go fix that in the offseason with Jackson Dart. You got Malik Neighbors who had 1K with Daniel Jones, so Jackson Dart. Malik Neighbors better have 1K again, and I know he will. And then you're gonna have better pieces on the O-line and wide receivers because the Giants are on the hot seat. They need to make their position for this quarterback as easy as it can for him so he could go in and make them keep their job, because Jackson Dart is a quarterback that he's super dynamic, super good. And yeah, Jackson Dart to the New York Giants, man. Let's make it happen, baby. Let's go, Giants Nation. Let's ride, man. Jackson Dart, man. At pick 2, the Cleveland Browns are taking quarterback out of Oregon. We got Dillon Gabriel, man. A lot of people are lower on him than me, but Dillon Gabriel, his biggest weakness to me is his size. Everything else, I thought Dillon Gabriel was the best running back in the class. He knows when to run. He is super accurate. He's good at the RPO game, which is something that a lot of NFL teams do. He's super smart. He's also on the older side, which is why all of those positives are like, yeah, he should have all of those. He's like 2 years older than everyone, which is cool. But you got to remember, he also has those things. He knows when to slide. Like, he runs like Kyler Murray. Like, if you know how Kyler Murray plays, Kyler Murray knows when to run the ball. He never just runs the ball out of fear. He runs the ball when he feels pressure. Dillon Gabriel feels the pressure really good. He has amazing pocket awareness. He's a capable runner. He's like quick in the RPO game like Tua. He's also left-handed, which is kind of why it reminds me of Tua. He's quick in the RPO game and left-handed, which, like, for the Browns, the fact that he's left-handed means that their right tackle will have more value, and their right tackle is one of the better right tackles in the league in Jack Conklin. Like, left tackle for the Browns has been a problem with Jedrick Wills because right-handed quarterbacks have that as their blind side. But Dillon Gabriel, he will be able to see all the pressure that Jedrick Wills gives up because he's left-handed. That's the way that he's looking. So Jack Conklin on the right side is going to be holding down his blind side very well. And he's going to have a Jerry Jeudy, a Nick Chubb recuperated next year. Dillon Gabriel to the Cleveland Browns is going to be an amazing pick for him and the Browns. Like, everything on this just complements each other well. They're good. He's good at the RPO game. You have a great head coach in Kevin Stefanski who runs that sometimes. He's a good runner, a great passer, the most accurate passer in the draft class. Dillon Gabriel's biggest problem is the same as Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Bryce Young. His problem is, like, he's 5'10". Can he produce at 5'10"? That's the biggest problem. Can he do that? I don't know. Even Pochik is 6'6", the Cleveland Browns center is 6'6", and he's 5'10". So it's kind of hard for these shorter quarterbacks to throw over these centers that are so much taller than them over the field, over the middle of the field at least. On the sidelines, I don't think Gabriel's going to have a problem with the Browns. If he has a problem in the NFL and they should go with Jackson Dart instead, it's the middle of the field. Like, I did also watch a couple plays in the game Oregon last played where he did miss a couple throws in the middle of the field, and it scared me. Like, that's his only problem though. If his only problem is that he's 5'10", after that, Dillon Gabriel, like, pound for pound, to me, is the best quarterback. It's just he's 5'10". Can he be the one that breaks the mold of these short quarterbacks not working? I don't know. But to me, production-wise, eye test-wise, tape-wise, Dillon Gabriel was probably the best. And at pick 1, the Tennessee Titans are taking the guy who I said probably for, Cam Ward. Cam Ward is a dog. Cam Ward is like easily QB1 of the draft. I don't even think it's an argument. He has an argument for the best runner. He has an argument for the best passer. He has an argument for the most accurate. He has an argument for the best size. He's like 6'2", 6'3". You know, like he's a quarterback, man. Cam Ward. The reason I brought up the different schools thing, Dillon Gabriel, he played at 3 different schools. Dillon Gabriel is top 5 all time in college football history with passes thrown in the game. He has a game where he threw for 500 yards like 5 years ago. He went to the school in Florida and played good, and he went to Oregon and played the best. Dillon Gabriel went to one system and produced a top 5 college game ever. He went to another system and was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then he went to another system and was probably the best quarterback in the league. You know, Cam Ward, he went to community college. He got up to like D2 last year, played it so amazing. He got up to D1. He played well in every single one of those playbooks. These 2 guys at the top are guys who the past 3 years they've been in different playbooks and they produced, you know, like these are good quarterbacks. And in the NFL, Cam Ward is going to be a problem. Did you see that Miami game where people were crying that he sat out while he gave them a lead? He broke that record. And yeah, sit out. Y'all need me this bad. To me, that risen his draft stock. People are complaining, oh, they don't care to win no more. No, you don't care the fact that they win in halftime with a lead and then they're going to blow it soon as he's gone because they can't do anything. That shows you that they team needed him. You know, like Cam Ward was a difference maker on that Miami team. And best quarterback in the draft class. Y'all, that video lasted an hour. Man, if you stayed here for an hour and you liked what I had to say, man, you may as well drop a subscription, man. You stayed here for an hour. You're not going to drop a like, a subscription. I have 200 subscribers, man. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in, man. This is my first video in a couple months. First video of 2025. I just graduated from college. I got a degree in finance. So if anybody for some reason is an hour in and you are hiring people who are financially equipped and you need somebody with a degree in finance, come on, man. Like you may as well at least contact me, you know, but you know, what's the likelihood of that happening? Hey, it's in God's hands, you know. We'll see if I get any, you know, job offers from this YouTube video, because you heard I just graduated, but also been busy with a lot of other things. So I plan on recording videos this year, a lot of them, and I plan on recording a couple today, so I can't be here for too long because I've already been here for an hour. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a nice day, and God bless.